and welcome to a brand new episode of Forbes India Pathbreakers. My guests on the show are Amit Khatri and his brother Gaurav Khatri, the co-founders of Noise. Today we will talk to them about what it takes to build a bootstrapped company. Stay tuned. I'm Neha Bothra. Hi Amit, hi Gaurav, so good to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Likewise, thank you for having us here.
You were training to be a commercial pilot and you were working with a fashion house. How did Noise come about?
I was working into product development. I was exposed to international brands, traveling across, working with them, and I was into B2B business. Always wanted to do something with the consumers. When Gaurav came out of his education where he was pursuing pilot as a career, we both had some synergy that, let's build something for the consumer. I had an exposure around the markets. He had an exposure around technology. He said, let's do something for the young ones who were 21, 22, 23 that time. That's how we started for solving for ourselves.
Going from something like aviation to now consumers in a tech space.
If I'll be very, very honest, I think the main reason is not able to get a job and the aviation industry was going through a very turmoil. It just gave me a free time for myself and try on things that I wanted to do. Having an elder brother who was running on his own business and you had a full access of the free internet and free office facilities to do your startup. We did a lot of trials pre-Noise, and I think because he was working with very closely with Zara, H&M and the top world brands, so his idea was always to give me directions towards creating a brand. And I was more of a consumer or more of a tech guy who was trying to understand what is happening and someone who's consuming the tech very frequently. So that's when we started thinking about why not to try to give wings to this project.
So I worked with these brands maybe for 10, 12 years like H&M, Zara. So I was very clear that let's build something which is aspirational yet affordable. So if you look at these brands, they come up with a great quality but a value pricing. Let's not build something which is very niche. Let's not go towards the bottom. Let's have a fine balance.
And you started with a website. Now that was pretty unheard of at that point.
So first of all, in 2014, 15, that time the industry was very nascent. There were few marketplaces and what we wanted to do was very unique. We started with mobile covers and we wanted to do covers which were very unique. So we said what we want to communicate to a user, it is wise if we do it from our website. And that's how we started it. We had our fair share of learnings, but I think it helped us well. But there were a lot of challenges in the industry of distribution, logistics.
We both did not come from an offline background. I knew what an online user thinks of. It's just that when you're starting your own business and there are very limited marketplace channels that are there. So marketplace was also not a very strong channel, or it was in a something that was work in progress. We had honestly no choice other than trying to do it from our own website. We made a lot of mistakes developing the website, finding out the partners and stuff like that. But I think we got a sense that if we try to do things by our own website, at least it gives you real-time feedback. So if you're running an ad through a Meta or a Google, you get to know how they're reacting and how they're performing versus just selling it on a channel. You would never get to know if consumer is buying you because of price or because of quality. A lot of learning came from our own website. With time, it just started working well, and fortunately, we were the early ones to get into D2C. D2C was not even the name, and D2C has just come, I think, 4 years back. I think we got the formula right at the right time, and it always helps when you are on the early entrant to any channel.
The early bird advantage, as they say.
Absolutely.
You've been bootstrapped for nearly 10 years now. Was it a conscious decision, or were you still testing waters, saying no to investors, or investors were saying no to you?
Honestly speaking, the background I come from, I've not seen people raising enough of money. My first business was also built from the capital what I had, savings from my first job, which was 50, 80K, 1,000 rupees. So always it was like build sustainable business. So maybe I took on that learning. And I think in 14 also there was no funding. It came a little later on. Now it's very common, you have an idea, go to raise money. But that time it didn't exist. So with that thesis, maybe with right fundamentals of what I learned, I started the business from there.
But was this exciting for investors 10 years back?
We were not that exposed also to the investor world. For us, the day one agenda was to create the business which is sustainable and self-profitable. And for first few years, honestly, we were making decent money and we were just putting back into the system and the growth was fueling up. So I think being naive and not knowing what the investor world looks like and how other businesses are there, allowed us to do things our own way and probably a different way than how other people were doing it. And fortunately, it worked in our favor.
Tell me, what were the first 4 years of the business like?
Me and Gaurav used to do each and every stuff ourselves. We had limited capital, so squeezing on capital everywhere to have the maximum output of it. We used to pack our stuff ourselves. I've seen him a lot of times uploading content onto websites on his own.
Doing the photo shoot by self.
And he's doing reconciliation of courier partners onto his own, reconciliation with the marketplaces. So maybe a lot of challenge, a lot of hard work, but I think it worked well for us. Maybe it took us a little deeper also into, maybe let's say if you're building a product, we really went into it.
Also, awareness for consumers. How did you address that? At that point, not being offline was quite a challenge.
We had no idea how offline works. I only knew how an online consumer thinks and what are the new channels that are growing up. So doing the right partnerships with the channel partner and having a brand which is able to deliver to what probably these partners are looking at. I'm talking about the Flipkart and Amazon of the world. When you go to an offline, which is very structured, there are 500 brands who have, for us, it was much more easier to convince an e-commerce partner and do the things there in the way that they wanted versus being a traditional brand and not able to, be agile enough to execute things that the way they wanted. We believed in online. The only thing probably we understood was reading the consumer online and just getting into the details of how consumer is behaving, what ads campaign are working, what product is working, reading the review real time. In offline, it takes like months. Your consumer feedback comes as filtered as 3 or 4 levels, right? Which is not there in e-commerce.
If you look into it, we were having a revolution where we were transitioning to be online economy basically. Now the problem is offline brands want to come online. And online brands want to go offline.
What was the profitability picture at that point?
I think we broke even in the first sales. First sales also,
First sales.
I think.
We were talking a while back about bootstrapping. So people used to say that we are burning so much. I was never able to understand what is this burn, man. Every unit you said you need to make money. So from day one, the first unit we sold, we used to make money there. Until now, every unit we sell, we make money.
There was a time when we were selling almost 500,000 units every month.
At what point did you start expanding?
If you look at the industry landscape, these are all led by bigger brands, mobility brands, and then other worldwide brands. So we never thought of entering in this space, by the way. We started with mobile covers as an accessory. We did it for 2-3 years. We were the market leaders there in the country. And then we realized that now it is high time for us to move up because this category has no indulgence. It's like a t-shirt business.
Yes.
That's how we started exploring, and we entered in watches as a space very early on when nobody was there.
We wanted to create a business which is much more futuristic, which has some guardrails for businesses to enter into that territory. So I think that's when we thought about technology as a space, and wearable and hearables were a very, very nascent, and probably that was the only way that we could make money and be able to create a brand in the landscape of the electronic industry. We started with truly wireless and the smartwatches. We started working with a lot of technology partners. It took us like a couple of years to come to our final product, and we came up with our first colored screen smartwatch, and then we came up with a truly wireless technology earbuds, rather than just coming up with a wired earphones or a speaker, which is a BAU category, and there's no technology innovation that we were able to bring or anybody is able to bring from last probably 4-5 years. So we did a lot of permutation combination and tried to find out the right formula before we come up to the wearable and hearable piece. That's how we reached there.
Interesting. Now you're a 2,000 crore brand. Was there this itch to grow faster? I mean, you had competition that had raised money. They had money to burn, as you say. So was there never this temptation to also grow that fast?
You sometimes definitely tend to get affected by the speed of growth when you see people around growing. But I think we've also realized that it's not about growth, it's about sustainable growth. It's not a sprint, like you say, it's a marathon. Of late, we realized that it's something what you need to do. So I'll tell you what people do for growth. So they keep on entering to different territories. They will do categories which are not relevant maybe for the business, which means you have to lose your focus from one space and move to the another one. So which we never wanted to do. We said, okay, where we are, let us excel here, let us master here, and let's have a sustainable growth.
There was of course an ambition. That's why probably we were able to do what we have been able to do. And there is yet to do a lot. I think global brands are probably doing great, but fortunately Noise became the one brand which reached to the top 3 chart of smartwatches, globally also. So we became the number 3 smartwatches after Apple and Samsung probably. Yeah, ambition was there for sure. But I think more than that, the focus was very, very high. We wanted to excel in the things that we are trying to do. Like Amit said, instead of just doing a spray and pray approach, I think going into detail and being focused probably allowed us to become a giant in one category and do great there. And audios last 2 years have been fantastic, where we have been able to grow more than 100% year on year. When you spoke about the growth, technically if you see, we have grown more than 100% year on year for last like for 4, 5 years, 6 years. I think that is fantastic enough. Of course, there can be more growth. There can be a lot of things that have been done differently. But even if I have to do it second time also, I'll probably do it in the same way. That has taught us a lot, and I think allowed us to still remain sustainable and profitable and do things the way that we wanted to do.
Was the pandemic a big turning point, 2020?
What it did is, first of all, consumers became digitally more aware. All digital brands got visibility in the pandemic because everybody started shopping online. And fortunately, we were in a categories which saw an accelerated adoption because people became health conscious. They wanted to measure their pulse SpO2, they wanted a device for that. Then we wanted earphones to attend because it was work from home, and we wanted to consume personal media. Definitely online brands were the most beneficiary out of it.
You spoke about how consumer is front and center of everything you do. Tell me a bit about what went behind building the brand in terms of storytelling and in terms of just getting that recall with consumers.
Till 2019 and probably till 20 also, we hardly had any brand spends. For us, the only way to market ourselves or to promote ourselves or to build the brand was to do the right product and use the word of mouth strategy. And fortunately, our product went well and the quality was fantastic. It was just the consumers for first 5 years who spoke about us and who made the real noise for us. Of course, when you become big, when you get some dollars in your bank, you start spending on brand marketing. But I think our budgets on the brand marketing have never been very, very huge. It has still been very, very close to the consumer. It has still been very, very dependent on the product quality. So that has been our simple strategy.
Neha, so when you are in a space which is super cluttered and when you have no capital, so you have only few strategies left to work. So for us, it was very clear the product has to be differentiated. We figured out a space, let's say a wearable for an example, and then we entered there, and with so much of product differentiation, people started figuring out what this brand is. And then definitely the great product quality helped us.
What is product differentiation?
All space in this country, I feel, is cluttered. You pick up any category today, one biryani shop will open, there will be 500 biryani shops around that area. If you just do one correct thing, there will be 5-10 brands that will come in the space, but not that everybody will be able to break through the formula that you have. Times where innovation takes a back seat and everything looks flattish, you are dependent upon your technology partners only. But for us, our strength in last 5 years have been the technology investment that we have done on the creating and owning the technology.
And one interesting fact, since we knew this space very well, so we have our app basically when you use a wearable device. We are the largest downloaded app in the country in the health and fitness space. We have 20 million downloads and we have 10 million users coming every month and 1 million every day. So look at the kind of consumers they are coming. We interact with them. We know their patterns, that where they are spending time, and accordingly we are able to have our offerings better. So maybe that is helping us out to take a leap ahead in the market.
There is hardly any Indian brand who owns its own app and control the entire database and has the entire legacy to customize and personalize the experience of a consumer. So those were small things, but other than that also there has been a lot of hardware innovation that we are now controlling, working very, very closely with the giants of the world. Bose is one of the examples, creating technologies, and that's the piece that can't be copied, right? I'm not sure if you heard about Noise Labs as a concept. So we have an incubation center that we have opened in-house. So there's a lot of new innovation that we do under that. We did our hearable frames, and now we are working on the AI modules of the headphones. There's a lot of other innovation that are already in pipeline. We have worked very, very deeply into smart rings. Rather than just buying the technology, and time has come when India will start creating and outsourcing those technology to the world. So we are working there, and that allows us to be, away from the cluttered noise that we talk about.
So earlier you were outsourcing a lot from outside India. Now what is the situation? Are you manufacturing most of it in-house in India?
So Neha, we have set up a manufacturing facility based out of Noida, and we produce 85% of our goods in India right now. So whatever you get shipped out, it's made in India now, 85%.
And what's the supply chain like? Because I understand there would still be some dependence on neighboring countries.
Yeah.
How does that play out?
So I think our ecosystem is shaping up very well. Government started this initiative of wearable manufacturing, I think almost 2 years back now. We started manufacturing in the first, just assembling. Now component manufacturing is also happening in India. Plastic components are being manufactured in India. So I think in 2-3 years time you will see more and more components getting manufactured, and our reliance would go low to the nearby geographies. We'll still have some reliance, but it's gonna be lesser to them.
Last year, Bose invested, I think, about $10 million. They bought 2.4% stake in Noise. As strategic partners, what do they bring to the table?
They are 60 years old. They pioneered this space, and they are an R&D company, by the way. So they are helping us to think in a way how an evolved consumer think, rather than a first-time buyer, which means how a tech need to be used. What does audio mean? So they are helping us to amplify the entire user experience for an audio device. Great technology and great listening experience. They are also helping our teams to learn and cope up to the international level. If you see there is no brands from country who has gone to the globe.
Yeah.
So I think with this partnership, Noise will be geared up to cater to international market needs also.
How did this partnership come about?
There are a lot of plus that are visible to us from the partnership rather than just the technology. Understanding and learning about the consumer, how they are available in more than 200 countries.
Yes.
So how each country behaves, how the supply chain distribution behaves, and how the technology partners behave. Their partnerships allows us to do things much faster and better versus anybody else. And of course, for them, I'm sure they are seeing the fastest growing brand of the country, and why not to invest and take the flavor of Indian market as well. I think one of the reasons for them also was that we were very closely working on innovation and technology creation.
Yeah.
They wanted a partner who is future proof and trying to do things very differently. I think that's where the synergy matched, and it just over a talk and things started happening and turned around very well.
Are there any milestones that Bose has put out that need to be achieved as part of the investment in Noise?
No, I think fortunately they are very patient investors. They always tell me, do what is right for the business. And you are an expert. We have 100% trust in you. And don't look short term. I think
you also need to understand, this is a partnership. It's not an investment. So for us, it is creating the right set of brand and the product and technology together, rather than just thinking about that you have to deliver an IPO in next 1 year, or you have to deliver me returns or exits XYZ. So fortunately, we don't have the pressure of that. And I think we wanted someone who help us to go up in our journey rather than just thinking about the money piece. We are more motivated toward creating big impactful things for both of us.
So now you are more open to like-minded investors coming on board, or maybe even Bose hiking its stake in the company?
Yeah, if we get right set of people or they hiking in, we are more than welcome.
So you have no threshold that beyond this comfort level is not there.
I think as individuals, we also believe that we should do something which is right for the business. Definitely capital helps you to accelerate. And this capital, it's first raise for us. So definitely it has opened up our minds. So, and I believe that you will see soon our trajectory way faster than what it was before.
Innovation is at the core of what Noise is doing. Tell me a bit more about what you're doing at that end.
I think till last year or maybe early this year, our Indian consumers were buying gadgets for the first time or maybe second time. So they were just testing it. So when you buy for the first time, you buy it for
experience of the
product. Let me
technology.
use it, let me see how it is, then I will think of buying an expensive product. Like I was talking about wearables. We were like a 600 million smartphone users, and we have shipped maybe 2 years back till 40 million devices, and maybe till last year 100 odd million devices as a user base. So it's on a 15% base, and markets are 23-24%. So the market has to grow, and the existing consumers has to go to the next
step.
next devices, which means more premium devices. More premium devices means an audio more immersive experience. The active noise cancellation will go to the next level now in the coming devices. In wearables, people are getting more and more health conscious. So people want devices which have advanced health sensors. And I think the biggest wave which we see coming is that AI, what we keep talking about. But I think these devices will become way personalized. I'll give you an example in audio. Now, let's say if we both are sitting in a restaurant and talking, these audio devices would cancel the outside noise, which you don't want. And I would only listen to you. So that is what AI can do. And if you look at wearables, these devices can throw you analytics to your health which are specific to you, like your sleep insights just for you, not generic. I think the market is moving and consumers are moving up, so they will look for more evolved and better devices.
And what about competition in the industry? Take Boat, for instance. Their focus area is slightly different, I agree. But revenues have been almost double of noise. Is it an aspiration to become the largest, to reduce the gap between the first and the second? How are you looking at it?
You never start your business looking into the competition. You started to solve your own purpose and your own direction. And fortunately, so far we have not been chasing revenues or who has scored how much. And I think the goals are very, very different for them and versus us. We are more surrounded by our own stories and our own innovation and our own consumer insights that we want to do. For us, sustainability has been the key. We wanted to still do the things that are much more long lasting rather than doing a temporary solution. We are much more focused on a lifestyle tech rather than just doing tech all around the world. With the current way of working, I think honestly we are not looking into any competition, not just them. We just want to be the next brand which is going out of India and creating the right noise in the world. So that is our aspiration, and I think we just focus there. Revenues are the output. Revenue can be $1 billion, revenue can be $10 billion. I think more important is if we are proud of our own brand and if we can just keep our heads high and tell the world that this is what we have created, I think that will be just enough for us. So that's the core focus on.
So I haven't seen the numbers for FY24. I think it's not filed yet. But FY23 profits actually came down quite drastically. 88 lakh from 35 crore earlier.
As a brand, as you grow, we started realizing that it is, if you have to pivot to the next step. So it's not about getting up the company for today. We have to get up the company for next 3 to 5 years. And we need to make the right investments in terms of people. In terms of tech and innovation, we spent a lot in hiring right talent. Second, we invested a lot in R&D. Also, we started spending on marketing, which is also a little long-term marketing and branding. I would rather term it as an investment, where before our investments were very less in terms of people, R&D and marketing. I think it will shape up well in the coming time.
How did it shape up in FY24?
You'll have your numbers very soon, but yeah, I think, like I said, investment is just not that watering the plant once. You have to keep trying, keep doing the things for the long term. And I think there are some investments that will keep going. And I think honestly, profitability has been there for 10 years. So we know the formula, how to do it, how not to do it. I think for us now is to take a leap of our faith and try to create a brand which is just ready to explode outside India also. So that has been our focus, and I think there will be investment there as well.
Now, entrepreneurship can be a very challenging journey. What are some challenges that you have encountered in your journey as entrepreneurs that you would like to share to inspire budding entrepreneurs?
I think the times before to now has changed a lot actually. Before there was no ecosystem. A small example, when we wanted to have an office, there is co-working space. Before there was no such concept. So you have to sit from home or build your own office. So I'm saying those kind of challenges are very easy. The capital is very easy, by the way. 10 years back, it was very much unheard of. Only few selected companies have raised capital in a space. Now capital is so much available that if you have a great idea, you can raise a capital.
There are times when it was very difficult to convince people to believe in your company. There was time when it was very difficult to convince the partners that we are the right brand. I think we just came out of those challenges one after the other, and it just helped in creating the business that we have created. Just don't have a fear of failure.
Just building businesses for capital is not right, and it's not sustainable.
Just think long term.
Now, when you think long term, you said that offline brands want to go online, online brands want to come offline. What are your plans in this regard?
No, so we believe brands have to be omnichannel play. So I think we are trying to have an experience which is 360 degree. A consumer, wherever it is, he should be able to buy our product. Be it online, offline.
In
So
fact, the
what's the
quick commerce.
plan for offline presence?
Honestly, to answer that, I think offline journey we already started almost 1.5 years back. We have already started doing more than 15% or 18% of the business that comes from the offline channel. And I think we expect the way categories are behaving now, it should be more than 35% of the business that should come from the offline. So of course, we will be working towards the building this channel. It has to be a holistic approach. Quick commerce is also the new flavor of the season, and I think people are spying there also. And now everything is within 10 minutes.
What percentage of sales come from quick commerce at this point?
Quick commerce is fairly young for us. The percentages are very low, but I think the way they are growing, every quarter they are doubling or even faster. So we see this is gonna be a decent size channel. By the way, onto offline, we have added more than 15,000 doors pan India. So we are available across all large format retail stores like Vijay Sales, Reliance, Chromas of the world.
Would you consider exclusive outlets to sell products offline?
As a brand, yes. If you ask me, we should have our own experience stores. But I think for us, working with retail stores and having an experience there inside is faster and easier to execute. So I think this is the second approach we have picked in as of now.
Now, you've been working together for 10 years. How is it like working with family?
We have a great understanding and mutual respect for our opinions. Good part is we have complementary set of skills basically, and we have divided our work.
So who does what?
So I lead product, I lead HR, finance, everything till warehouse basically. And post that he leads sales,
Once
marketing.
the goods comes to the warehouse, it's his role. Post that, it's just my role.
So I think
That's
we divided.
a nice demarcation.
We understand that this is my strength, this is your strength.
Yeah.
We have a fair share of debates also at work, but I think those are healthy ones.
Yeah, you can have a difference of opinion on the things, but I think ultimately it has been one common goal for. I think he being elder, of course, there is a much more respect from a younger brother that goes without saying, at least in India. But yeah, I think I've learned a lot. For me, he's the one who's leading the extra weight. I think overall trust and the values, and of course, when you know and you are a family, it always helps.
I think we lend trust onto each other of our areas.
The last 10 years have been very rewarding. What is one most memorable experience that always makes you happy when you think of it?
When we started Noise, we didn't knew that it will reach that far. So the first product, when we saw somebody wearing or putting a mobile cover on it, it gave us a lot of happiness that, see, this guy's using a Noise product, and now, see, in wearables, 30%, north of 25% is the market share. So which means every fourth device or third device in the country is ours. That gives us a lot of happiness and pride.
There have been a lot of small moments that have come in the journey. Probably I did the first 1 lakh rupee sale in a day. That was a wow moment. And then probably the first purchase order that we got for a crore rupee. What a journey. Recently, when I was traveling to Europe, I saw couple of folks wearing Noise watches, so that was also a magical moment for us.
When we were building Noise, so we maybe made a plan that if we are able to ship, let's say 3,000 pieces in a month, we will be happy. I mean, this is the kind of business plan we made, and now we are at more than 1 million pieces. So people keep asking me that, have you ever thought that Noise would become the third largest in the world? So they keep provoking me, why can't you think of becoming number 1? You never thought of becoming number 3. So from 0, you are at 3. So that journey is also.
Here's wishing you many more such magic moments and milestones.
Thank you so much, Neha, for having us here. And it was a lovely conversation with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.